I'm finally trying resin and I've jumped right into the deep end.
Like, this intimidates me, and we've done dozens, hundreds of resin projects. I don't know.
I've got no experience, but a lot of ambition. What could go wrong? So if it starts smoking...
Oh, bad.
Bad. Yeah, it's too far gone.
Maybe this whole video will just be one giant cautionary tale. There are so many ways I could fix this if we had a time machine.
Will you ever do a resin project again? It's not going to be as bad next time.
Oh my gosh, this is so dramatic.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I've been wanting to try resin since forever. I love how it seems to capture the feeling of water, but frozen in time. There are so many different ways to use resin and so many different types of resin, and it's kind of crazy that I haven't dabbled in this yet with how creative you can be with it. And for my first project, I want to flood the Mona Lisa. So here's the plan. I want to make it look like someone has taken the Mona Lisa and literally flooded it with water. I want water dripping out the bottom. And Mona, she'll probably need a snorkel. And just for fun, let's throw in a rubber duck. But from here, there are a lot of things I need to work out. How big am I going to make this? Do I frame it first or frame it last? How do I make it look like water and not just plastic? Do I need to pour it upright or can I pour it flat somehow? What kind of resin do I even need for this?
Polyester resins, urethane resins. There are different types of resins and each has their advantages. Some go faster, some go slower. They're used for different things.
If there's anyone that can help me answer these questions, it's Evan and Caitlin. They've worked with all kinds of resin and have pushed it to every limit imaginable. And beyond resin, they've built all kinds of working computers, ambitious tech, hat projects, art projects, soap projects, and whatever this is. Their YouTube channel is a lot of fun, and I'm hoping to learn from their many resin experiences to find the best approach to creating my flooded Mona Lisa. The water's gonna be here, so I want it to kind of be like, almost like it's just freshly been poured and then like frozen in time. I'm thinking that it's gonna be better to sit her flat like this and pour the resin down and just do layers and create some kind of barrier here rather than trying to tip it up and actually like pour it, because then I sort of reduce lines.
Yes.
Yeah, because you are gonna have layers and they will be visible. If you're pouring flat, you'll only see the layers from the sides, which I think will be a lot less distracting than seeing them from the front.
The other thing I wanted to do is have just like a drip or something like here, as if the water is leaking out of the frame.
What you should do is you should do this as a separate entity, maybe with UV resin.
I actually put this project into ChatGPT and asked it what are the odds of success, and it said that if you've never done resin, it's maybe like a 20% success rate.
I think getting it on the first try, that's maybe even a little ambitious.
Okay, let's pause for a sec, because if I'm being honest, resin doesn't look that hard. I'm obviously missing something.
Well,
I didn't even know there were different types of resin.
Oh, so many different types of resin. Read the technical data.
What's the gel time? What's the layer thickness? How long till full cure?
Any other supplies that I need?
Mask
Gloves, respirators,
with VOC filter.
safety glasses so it doesn't splash.
99% alcohol for cleaning Whole things. bunch of paper
Some
towels.
sort of like silicone mat or something to work on. We also use foil.
Mixing sticks, buckets, talcum powder.
Some sort of brush.
Make sure to really get the bristles out. Bristles will come out of brushes and get stuck in resin and mess up your resin creation.
That's how I know.
I mean, we've seen some epoxy pours go bad.
Of all the resin pours, for this to happen on, it had to be literally the biggest one.
I probably wouldn't do it in a house. Because you really don't want a resin leak.
What happens when you have a resin leak?
I stepped in the resin. Well, the resin soaked through. That's a pretty big puddle.
Level your table beforehand.
Level your table. Ask us how we know.
It's never happened to us.
From the expression on his face, I can tell it's not going well.
So if I see smoke,
Oh, no. Oh, that's bad.
That's bad. It's already gone. There's
fine.
bubbles.
It's
It's
smoking.
warping.
It's
It's
Yeah, like it's not great. It can just. Oh my god, my heart rate's 115.
This is unusable.
do you think I could do that?
I will say it's possible.
How many times will you have to learn lessons the hard way?
From what you're saying, there are a lot of ways this can go wrong.
Yes.
That's why I was like, this is your first resin project? This is very ambitious.
Like, this intimidates me, and we've done dozens, hundreds of resin projects. I don't know. This is a big one. You can do it, though.
You can do it.
Great. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So I'm somehow feeling more confident and less confident all at once. When a project is this big, the best thing to do is to take just one step at a time. And I've decided the easiest first step is to find my rubber duck. Except I never knew there were so many different duck options, and this is overwhelming already. Vincent Van Dyke, Creeper Duck, Donut Duck. I've ended up buying this cute little artist duck and a second smaller duck just in case he's too big. So what else do I need? So this is the space I found. It's like literally a resin workshop. So they've got all the things. I'm at Art Tree Creations in Melbourne. Not only do they have everything I could possibly need for a resin pour, they also have an amazing workspace where they run workshops for beautiful resin tables and resin art pieces. Scott is the owner and he has very generously offered this space and his time to help me pull this all together. Hopefully without repeating many of the mistakes that I've seen my friends make on their first resin projects. Before I go all in on my big project, I kind of want to get a feel for the resin. I'm trialing the 2-part epoxy on a much smaller project to start. Oh wait, I was supposed to put it on this, wasn't I? Embedding some of my pencil shavings into a small paperweight. This doesn't look that hard to me, but everyone keeps telling me this is incredibly ambitious. So there's obviously something I'm missing, and I guess we'll find out. And they all just totally moved from where I put them. Stop floating back up. Putting things in specific spots is actually a bit harder than I thought it would be, because I push one down and another one floats up. Ooh. Probably should move all the other things around before I set everything on fire. Oh wow, that worked really quickly. I didn't get them all though. Oh crap. I think I just lit that on fire. I saw a flame. So it's definitely a good thing that I did test project first, because I'm already learning so much about how heavy and fluid the resin is, how it interacts, and how it slowly hardens as it cures. And waiting for it to cure has given me time to keep moving the shavings around for a little while until all of a sudden it was done. I want to try some M&Ms. Oh, they smell so good, but they're not edible anymore. Not really leaving any room for the resin. Let me actually do this time. That's looking pretty clear. I think we're good. Let's just get some in. Does food last forever once you put it in resin? Oh, the texture of this is so fun. It looks like it's been shrink wrapped in plastic. Maybe that should just be my job from now on. Make M&Ms into things. Forbidden treats. Maybe I'm feeling overconfident because I have had a lot of good advice from different people, but so far, this is not feeling too hard. The difficulty with my Mona Lisa is that we're dealing with a much bigger scale, which means the resin might act differently. We're also dealing with a frame rather than a silicone mold, and that brings the risk of leaking. But so far I'm feeling pretty good about this, and I'm having fun. At the moment I'm waiting on this one to set.
Oh, M&Ms.
M&Ms, yeah.
Oh, that's satisfying.
It's interesting. I was wondering, I wonder if the M&M coatings would melt off.
That's what we weren't sure. But no, they seem to be holding up. Once we get these sort of set and moved out, I'm gonna start on Mona Lisa.
Oh, exciting. Broke the resin seal and now you're in it.
Yeah, I was really nervous a few days ago, but so far so good. So for my flooded Mona Lisa, I want it to be big enough to feel like the real Mona Lisa, but not so big that I can't do this in a few days. But it does need to be big enough to fit a snorkel and goggles and my rubber duck, and deep enough to pull off this effect, but bigger also very quickly gets harder and more expensive. And I've decided to limit myself to whatever I can find in a shadow box frame size, because otherwise I'll need to build a whole box system and I'm already in way over my head.
So you have two, right?
No.
Oh no, oh no.
I only bought one. Buy more shadow boxes.
Yeah.
Have a backup at least. Yeah.
All right. I'm a little bit stuck on the picture itself, because on one hand I was like, if I'm gonna do the Mona Lisa, I should probably paint the Mona Lisa, but I don't know how to do oil painting either, and that feels like a lot of things to learn in one video.
Yeah.
Oil painting takes a long time to dry.
So I'm actually leaning towards
taking a print of the Mona Lisa in Procreate, making some fun little changes to make it a bit more my own.
I think that'll
then
be
printing
good,
that out.
because then if something does go wrong on the resin
I've got
side,
a backup.
Yeah, you don't have to spend days more painting and drawing another painting.
This is already ambitious.
I know.
This is really ambitious.
Please save your mental sanity.
It just feels like this should be easier. What is with these brushes? Okay, I'm gonna try something different. We'll use Photoshop's warp features and see if I can puff up her cheeks a different way. Okay, this is starting to, I'm feeling hopeful. I wonder what happens if I use the inflate, whoa. Maybe I can make this work actually. I think I also need to change her mouth. Kind of puckers in. Pucker. Can we use the pucker tool? Why isn't it correct? How do you make someone raise their eyebrows when they don't have any eyebrows? All right. I think I'm done. Oh dear. That took so much longer than I thought it was gonna take. We got there in the end. So here's the new plan. I've made 3 copies of my Mona Lisa and I've got spare frames, so there's a little less pressure to get this perfect on the first try. I'll do what I can to seal the edges of the frame and then I'll pour the whole thing flat over 3 separate pours so it doesn't overheat. I'll create some kind of barrier at the top to stop the resin going over her entire face, and once everything is cured, I'll remove the barrier and find a way to add more bubble effects at the top along with my rubber duck. First, I want to protect these prints, so I'm applying several coats of a matte varnish to make them stronger and hopefully reduce any tearing during the rest of the process, and to stop the resin soaking into the paper or messing with the ink. I've bought a big frame and I've bought some smaller frames, and we're going to use none of them. We've decided the best option is to actually build a frame because this will allow us to attach it on here, keep it nice and tight, hopefully stop any resin from leaking out. And at the end, we'll be able to put a nice fancy frame over the top. I'm realizing very quickly that my original plan of the scuba gear is not gonna work because it's a little bit bigger than I thought it was. So we're gonna have to downsize. This frame is already pretty tightly screwed into the base, but I'm adding some extra tape along the edges because I really don't want this to leak. At the same time, I'm building a waterproof barrier with Glad wrap and some clay to create an uneven edge along the top that hopefully resembles water when this is done, and I need this to not damage the picture underneath and not stick to the resin. And finally, I've cut the straw in half so that we can embed the bottom in the resin and maybe, hopefully, reattach the rest at the end. Everyone had different suggestions on how to do this barrier, so I'm taking a bit of a risk and I hope it works out how I'm picturing.
Let's do this. I already messed it up.
So you might have noticed that I had the stirring stick in the cup during my projects earlier, and that's because it helps to make the resin pour more smoothly instead of bubbling and glugging and adding a whole lot of extra bubbles before I even start the mixing.
So that is not how you pour resin, because now I have to do it again.
This is one of the many little things that would be easy to get wrong in this project and reminds me of just how lucky I've been to find a great space like this with the help from Scott and his team, along with my friend Liz, who has been secretly helping behind the scenes for this whole thing.
The moment of truth. Good thing she's holding her breath. The slow, steady pour, followed by the frantic check that it hasn't leaked. No leaks!
The hardest part is over. The first pour is down, and if anything was going to go horribly wrong, it probably would have happened at this step. After lots of checking and leaving this overnight to cure, it's time to start preparing for the next layer of resin. Okay, first thing, there are no leaks, which is great. And there don't seem to be any bubbles, but what is this? What is this texture? It's like when I was mixing it, the texture that showed up, and that texture has shown up again. And I don't know what that means, and I hope we can fix it. So could you explain to me what I did wrong?
It's not bad for first crack. But looking at the surface there, I'd say that you've just not quite mixed the two parts together well enough. You can kind of tell at the bottom of the cup there's still liquid resin. Obviously it hasn't been combined, so it hasn't set in the bottom of the cup.
Will that be visible at the end?
Because you're doing another layer, so the finished product should still look Mickey Mouse, yeah.
So hope is not lost yet.
Hope is not lost. Bit better mixing, scrape down the sides a little better in that bottom crease. You'll have it sorted for the next layer.
Just 3 weeks ago, I knew nothing about resin. Now I feel like I've learned so much, and some of it has really surprised me. For example, I now know that thicker resin pours actually cure faster, and this feels so counterintuitive and the opposite of every other art supply I've used. And this is because the resin isn't just setting or drying out, it's actually made up of two parts, and when you mix them together, they start a chemical reaction that transforms them into a completely new material. And during this process, it generates heat. The more resin you pour, the more heat gets trapped inside, which actually speeds up the curing process.
For this resin, like there's often a trade-off of how thick you can pour it versus how long it takes to cure. Resin that's meant to be poured thicker is going to take a lot longer to cure, so it's going to space out your project more. If you do the fast cure stuff, you can only pour like this thin at a time.
And the hotter it is, the faster it cures.
So it creates like a spiraling, it's called thermal runaway, so it can create an effect where it's like, it starts curing faster, which starts heating, which makes it cure even faster, and then all of a sudden like...
There's bubbles, it's warping, it's
Okay.
Yeah, like it's not great.
We cooked eggs on it once, it was so
We did,
hot.
we cooked eggs.
You didn't eat the eggs though, right?
Oh, we
did not eat, we totally didn't eat the eggs.
Well, yeah, we definitely did not take a bite of the eggs.
No, yeah, we definitely didn't.
We have so many people watch it on YouTube, go, oh, looks easy. And then they'll buy some, a couple $100 worth of resin, give it a go, and then they'll come in here and go, oh, it just didn't work out. I better do a class or something like that. Or they'll talk to us and we'll give them some advice. It's never quite as easy as what, YouTube and stuff makes it look.
Thank you for all of your advice as we've gone. It might very well be the thing that has made this not burst into flames.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. Although we do have a fire blanket real close. So
Fire blanket ready to
we've
go.
never burnt down the factory yet, so.
Put that in the slogan.
Yeah,
We haven't burnt the factory down yet.
yeah, that's right.
It's becoming clear that this is something that looks easy, but a lot can go wrong. And I am feeling more confident now that I've got my first pour out of the way. And so far, my mistakes haven't completely destroyed Mona.
I see what he means now. The strands coming off the side. Because I'm being more intentional about only mixing the middle and then coming back. And now you can see the strands.
I've decided to add a splash of colour in the next layer, even though my initial instinct was to leave this clear because water is clear.
The main downside of having it clear is resin. Some resins can yellow over time, and some even have a bit of a yellow tint when you start.
So actually putting a bit of colour
It
will
can
mean
help
that
counteract that yellow.
While I'm getting this ready for our next pour, this feels like a great time to show you how my first 2 resin projects went.
It's a non-suspicious cut to the video where nobody else came and helped me release this. Look at that. Oh, that's so cool. Everyone has always asked me what I'm gonna do with all my pencil shavings. And I made something. That's actually way cooler than I was expecting it to be. It's almost like, because of all the bubbles in it, it's almost like a snow globe, but it just got frozen halfway in. That's what it feels like to me. A snow globe that was paused. I'm actually really excited about this one though. Hopefully it's easy to get out. Wow. These M&Ms have been sitting on my shelf for so long and I really wanted to do something cool with them. And I think I found my cool thing to do with them. I mean, these weren't even my main project, but I really like how they turned out.
I'm finding it so interesting, all the different processes and chemical reactions and even colours that are going into making this look like clear water. I've never had to worry about having access to clean water, but millions of people do. That's why I'm proud to be a part of Team Water, the biggest creator crowdfunding campaign ever. We're not just building wells, we're working with communities to build sustainable systems that provide life-saving clean water for decades. My goal is to raise $5,000 to give 250 people clean water for 20 years. And I'd love you to be a part of this. Just $1 can give someone access to clean water for a whole year. You can donate through my link below or download and share the free coloring pages that I've made to help spread the word, because everyone deserves clean water.
Oh, okay. It's in. It looks good. It looks good. I think the amount of blue tint was perfect.
I've decided to try something a little risky and create some very specific bubbles near the top of this surface. It's something I probably should have tried on a test piece before now, but I'm feeling confident and I'm keen to try.
What do I use? Baby wipe. It came so close to no leaks and then I just poured it straight in her face.
I'm basically pushing air under the surface, although it's not as easy as I expected to keep them down. As this resin is slowly heading into its tacky stage, the bubbles are also slowing down, and so this feels like it's going to be a balance between getting the timing just right and not leaving it too late in the process that the resin doesn't level again.
It's crazy that it's so hard to get rid of bubbles and at the same time so hard to make bubbles. Like, you can't be both things, it's not fair.
With my second pour done, I want to start thinking about how I'm going to create some of the extra details when this is all done, like the water drip, attaching the duck, and maybe even creating some bubbles along the edge. And for this, I'm using a completely different type of resin.
All resin is basically plastic precursor that links and hardens via some method.
What you'll probably use for the bulk of this is some form of like two-part
resin.
epoxy resin, meaning like the reaction to turn it into plastic doesn't happen until those two parts mix together. For UV resin, like we were talking about, there's no mixing of A and B. The reaction happens when it hits UV light.
Instead of relying on the chemical reaction to cure, UV resin will stay liquid until it's exposed to UV light. And this allows way more control and faster results, allowing me to experiment with different shapes, assuming the resin will cooperate. UV resin can't be poured as thick as the other resin, so it's not a good option for deep pours like what I've done so far, but for small elements like these, it's perfect. And for my brain, it's far more fun. I've managed to create some pretty cool fake water drips, and I had a little fun experimenting with dropping the resin into shampoo and curing it while it slowly sank. But there's only so much I can do here without the final piece ready, and to do that, we need to do our final pour. With all the practices and mistakes out of the way, I'm confident this layer will be the best. I've had a lot of help along the way, and I've seen what happens when I rush, or when I don't mix the resin enough, or don't pop the bubbles enough with the torch. As long as this last pour goes smoothly, the hardest part of this project is over.
All the mistakes of the previous layers have been fixed. Bubbles, I dare you to come. No, actually, please don't. But if you do, I'll destroy you. Can you see these bubbles in the under layer? They're just perfect now. I was a bit worried about the blue in that last layer, but now she really looks like she's underwater.
Back in the studio, Mona has been curing over a few days, so it's finally time to see if my barrier held up.
Oh no. I'm joking, she's fine. This worked really well.
The edge wasn't perfect, so after painfully getting the rest of the clay out, I decided to give it a quick sand and polish, which led to more sanding and more polishing and more shopping and more sanding and more sanding, and I think I've ruined this whole thing.
This wasn't supposed to be the hard part.
I thought I'd have this finished today, and instead I've hit a huge hurdle and I didn't expect this. I thought that a quick sand of the edge would be easy and then I could just polish out any scratches, but those scratches made more scratches, and after a lot of research online, the advice was to keep sanding with lighter grains until it ends up smooth and eventually goes clear again. That's not gonna work unless I sand the whole thing. and I am not confident that I'm ever gonna get back to that perfect clear resin that this was a few hours ago. And I'm really mad at myself for risking this and for not just being more careful with the edge in the first place. I decided to take a break and redirect my attention to playing with some more UV resin. I built some new splashes that I was much more happy with, and I tried some different techniques combining resin with ink, water, and soap to see if any of these experiments might lead to something useful for the top of my water. And since I'd realized earlier that my duck was gonna be too big for his final position in my frame, this felt like a good time to give him a little haircut. Which was entirely because he needed to be a little smaller and had nothing to do with my current state of frustration at the rest of my project. Yesterday, I was almost in tears thinking, what have I done?
Did you sand the top surface?
Some of it?
Generally, we sand everything at like a 45-degree angle to kind of like remove a sharp edge, but we don't touch the glossy surface because it's really hard to get it glossy again.
Yeah, so I'm learning this.
This is like that, is it like Mr. Bean that does the thing where he goes to fix a little bit of a painting and he keeps trying to fix it and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger? I feel like that's what I've just been through. And all of a sudden I've realized that I might never get this back to the beautiful clear that was so hard to get and I was so proud of. And now I'm feeling like that. All this because I wanted some little tiny bubbles that like, the bubbles were supposed to be this fun little extra and instead they've created days and days of extra work and I don't know what to do. And so I was wondering, for one, is this salvageable? Because I'm a bit like...
salvageable,
It's salvageable.
Okay.
And there's multiple things you can do. It's just, they all have pros and cons. I think it's gonna be a lot faster to cover it with something else, clear and glossy, possibly more resin, than it is to sand it smooth. Because the good thing about resin is you can put more resin on top and it will be glossy again. And it's gonna fill in like any of the scratches and dings.
Two-part epoxy would be the easiest way. UV resin is always, in my head, a little bit inferior, and then it's not always as clear as two-part resin.
What are your thoughts on like a clear glossy spray?
You can get epoxy spray paints. There's also a learning curve on that. You have to do it at the right thickness. It has to be the right wetness. You need to re-lap the edge properly.
I could go back there. And to be honest, the 2-hour drive is probably still quicker, but then I have to wait there for it to cure. Everything else feels like there's just bringing more risks in. And I just need this one last thing to be not more risky.
We've tried polishing before, and I think that every time we've really tried doing it, we've given up and gone to like a top coat.
Yeah.
You need a random orbit sander, a lot of grits of sandpaper, starting from like whatever the lowest you did all the way up to like 3,000, all on your random orbit sander. And then you'd need to use a polisher on top of a grinding wheel. So like, it's totally possible, but it's a big thing. You have to have a lot of equipment, a lot of supplies.
And it gets a little bit messy.
It's messy.
With the polishing compound. From our experience, as people who have never been patient enough to polish it all the way, the sanding option is the one where like you might put several hours into it and then be like, dang it, it's still not good. I would do resin even if there is a drive.
And after all that, I'm going with sanding. Well, to be clearer, I'm getting help from Scott, who's doing basically all the sanding for me. After all my panic and thinking I would need to do another pour, Scott showed me how he sands and polishes all his beautiful resin tables, and this ended up being no more than 20 minutes and was the perfect solution to bringing Mona back to a clear, water-like finish. And it's finally time to add all these exciting little things that I have been building with the UV resin. Not everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong, but I did lose the duck for a good 24 hours and the UV torch that I bought a day ago stopped working.
Oh no.
And then I lost the lid of my pouring thing, so I had to make a makeshift little version of... So I feel like I've had to solve a lot of problems here.
Well, you know what? You're experiencing the unexpected joys of how resin can be interesting.
I remember saying at the start of this, it feels like the kind of project where everyone tells you everything's gonna go wrong, and then I'm like, but how hard can it be? And I'm like, this isn't that hard. What's everyone talking about? And then it all falls to pieces and you're like, no.
I think part of it is you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? You didn't know that it was gonna be hard to sand if you got some scratches on it. It's like, these are the things that, like, even as people who have done it a lot, I don't know if I would have warned a beginner not to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has been so helpful having you guys help me to not totally, well, I did panic a little bit, but not like, not end this video in a slump. So thank you.
We're so close now, and I've called in some help from another Scott, this time from Frameline in Geelong, to help me prepare Mona for her final home in a beautiful classic frame that he has very generously provided and prepared for me, along with some museum quality glass to keep the resin protected and have Mona Lisa looking her absolute best. This has been a real team effort, and I couldn't have done this without the experienced locals from Frameline and Archery Creations helping throughout this whole project.
Are you ready to see it?
Yes.
I'm ready. Oh my gosh, this is so dramatic.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Ta-da!
Oh my gosh.
So clear.
She looks so good. Wow.
That's your first resin project?
Yes!
That's insane.
Congratulations.
I love how she's got a crew of handlers. This is so awesome. Oh, the bubbles and splashes look so good, and you got the resin so clear. That looks really good. Honestly, I'm kind of jealous because most of our resin projects don't end up looking like this clear. So this is super impressive. Oh, the drips. Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
That's such a fun detail.
That's amazing. How many hours of work went into this for y'all?
I don't know.
Don't count it up unless it might be depressing.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's worth it. It's all worth it.
That was that effect that I was showing you of doing it on upside down in a bottle so it dripped.
Splashes look so good, and like the texture of the water on top looks really, really good. Especially with the straw going through it, like breaking the surface.
Now, will you ever do a resin project again?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Normally they aren't this complex. You kind of shot for the moon there,
Yeah.
so it's not going to be as bad next time.
The UV resin, I think. I reckon the UV resin will slip into some other projects because that for me
Nice.
was fun.
Yeah, you can get a nice glossy top coat on anything with it. It's
And make
pretty
a lot
versatile.
of fun details
Yeah.
with UV resin.
Yeah, I think that's what I enjoyed. I think for me, the difference between the two, this feels like baking from a recipe and this feels like cooking just from the heart.
I see that. I see that.
The recipe, the technical stuff is not my strength. My strength is, let's just see what happens.